The weekend was calm.
Okay.
I have to be honest. I was indoors pretty much the entirety.
Okay.
This weekend didn't have me do any external extremities.
May I ask a question on behalf of K? May I?
Feel free.
So, with the kind permission of K, were you alone indoors?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you.
Why is there a specific requirement?
So there was no television set, no chairs, no sofas.
I actually watched a lot of football this weekend.
Exactly. So the question I asked was to indicate whether it was you alone or there was TV, sofas, tables, cups.
Oh, but there's sofas, TVs,
how
and all
do I
those
know?
things. They are always indoors with you.
How do I know? How do we know? Nobody is in your house with you.
Well,
so it was
fair.
just a harmless question on behalf of K.
Well, that's fair. Fair. So I watched a lot of football. In fact, I think yesterday I went to bed at about 4:20 because I was watching the Argentina game. That game went into extra time.
Yeah, it did.
Argentina, Switzerland, it ended 3-1. I watched all of the football because this is the World Cup. The next time it's here, it's in 4 years.
4 years again.
So I make sure I catch every glimpse and I watch as much as I can.
I know.
So yeah, I watched a lot of football this weekend.
Right.
I watched pretty much all the games. Right.
That's
all the games. Yeah. I mean, I love football. So
I caught glimpses of the games.
Highlights.
Yeah. The point is that I wanted Argentina out. I don't know, but I wanted Argentina out. Unfortunately, they couldn't. So the final game with Sweden tells me something about Argentina.
Switzerland, you mean?
Switzerland tells me something about Argentina. That
England will beat them.
Exactly.
England will beat them.
Oh yeah, you can't say. You know they've got this fighting spirit that takes them all the way to the end of the game.
Yeah, but they've been very
so
poor.
Their speed at the end of the game is always phenomenal, and that is one thing
I was watching the game and I kept asking myself, they don't deserve anything from this game because they haven't played nothing.
Oh no, Argentina plays good football.
They've not impressed one bit.
No, but thus far they have proven from the beginning of the tournament.
They started well against Algeria. It was a good game. They won.
What game was not good?
I watched that Algeria game. I think I watched their game against Austria. I've watched every Argentine game, I have to be honest, because I'm a huge Messi fan. I've watched all of their games, right? They've been impressive in the group stages. Because in that game against Jordan, I went to bed and I think when they were leading 2-0, I was like, okay, this is a wrap. So I went to bed because their games have been very late in the day. And then I woke up to Messi scoring an additional one. The Jordanians had also scored and all of that. But since that round of 32, they met Capo Verde. They labored to win in extra time. They met Egypt. It had to take a miracle in the last, 12, 15 minutes. Then they played Switzerland. Got an early goal. I was like, okay, fantastic. Let's see how they do. And
football is always about results. Football is all, you see, that's it. There he's looking at bets. That is his bet.
Oh my goodness.
Football is about results.
Phil says his bet went up in flames.
Argentina.
That's why he's not particularly enthused with that. But
Argentina is a threat to the World Cup. Trust me. They are in pole position to win.
No, I don't think so. On this one, I disagree with you.
Well, no problem.
I like to see teams on the front foot. Yeah, you won't be on the front foot throughout 90 minutes. But watching them, you feel like the entire game.
So my simple ask is, football is about winning.
Well, in the end,
Argentina hasn't played badly. Trust you me, they have not at all. All the games that I have seen them play, even against Egypt, when they went 2 goals down, watching the game carefully, you would realize that they played all they had to play. It was just that Egypt gave them a hard time. But at the end of the day, football is played over a certain number of minutes that I disagree with.
How many minutes would you want to play?
My point is, we calculated everything, assessed everything, and decided that football is going to be played over 90 minutes. Wherein comes the added time? Wherein comes the added time?
After 90 minutes when you haven't scored.
Wherein comes the added time? So we play first half and we add 2 minutes, 3 minutes to the first half because of stoppage. What do you mean by stoppage? It was all part of the 90 minutes. So why didn't you make football 200 minutes? So that everything will be... My point is, even if it was 60 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, why do you add time? We calculated all the infringements, fouls, delays, and all that kind of thing to make it 90 minutes. But after the game, you add 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 9 minutes. That is why I hate football. It's not the most coordinated game.
Let's proceed. Because the way you are saying you hate football all of a sudden when but I mean,
you know, I have assessed football and my decision is so clean. The reason I'm so much apathetic towards it, I don't have any affinity towards any games or anything. I would not die over it. Because coaches are tossed around left, right, center. Today this coach is on this team, the next day he's on another team. Today this player is playing here, the next time this person is there. Tomorrow this, what is offside?
It's an entire business.
What is, you know, and even now we have the betting companies sponsoring soccer.
And they influence some of the games.
Absolutely, so it's just a game now. Now we can say football is a game. A game is something that is not serious. So football is a game. So let's take it like that. Let's get into the custodian for this morning. Good morning, people. So the custodian this morning says, Aboagye in trial. Atachia grills lead investigator. Bawumia edges support for NPP election winners. And NDC's EOCO arrest miracles. NPP demands his immediate release. And that is the front page of the custodian for this morning. There's another one says that, the publisher. The publisher says, EOCO picks miracles. NPP demands immediate release. Also, Chebizongo shooting. MP demands probe. Mahama tells Zoom Lion, open waste transfer stations now. And then Aboagye in trial, Atachia corners EOCO investigator. And the banner headline says, Bawumia backs new executives and calls for unity.
The Republic Press, disaster looms at Ashaiman, Middle East. Ashaiman have very interesting names from
absolutely
all of what you can think
Bethlehem,
about.
Jericho,
everything. And there's Ashaiman, Middle East. Petrol tanker goes up in flames, send warnings over workshops under high tension cables. That's always been one that has fascinated me. Business, because when I go under, the very few times I've walked under high tension cables, I've been scared because you can hear the electricity being transmitted.
The vibration, you can hear the vibration.
And people have made it a place of abode where they do business and what have you. It just speaks to our lack of safety, a lack of enforcement in one breath as well, because I believe persons within the electricity company of Ghana should be preventing people from operating around high tension cables for very obvious reasons, right? And yet, I know if you reach Awoshiban Yard, for instance, businesses that have been thriving under those cables for God knows how long.
That is a no man's land.
Yeah,
and the ineptitude is so high. I've written letters to Gridco, to ECG, and to the gas. Because for me, the golf course at Tema, the gas pipeline runs through that one under the high tension. And you see these tankers, they're welding things and using fire. I have reported on several occasions. I wrote letters. Gridco has been adamant. They have been adamant. And my point is this. When one high tension, I don't know if it's what they call, do they call theirs also a mast?
I think
because the huge one, the pylon.
The pylons, yeah.
If the pylon catches fire, the entire neighborhood and others that rely on the same line that moves all the way from Akosombo to Accra or to Tema, there's going to be a big problem. So my point is this: where wherein lies the role of the task force of all these institutions? Because if those places are no man's lands, they are areas where nobody needs to be sitting, why do we do that? So sometimes, I don't know. When I wrote the letters, ECG came back to me. Yes, ECG came back to me and told me that no, they were not responsible for that, and it had to be GRIDCO. I wrote a letter to GRIDCO. I've not seen what they have done because the tankers are still there and they are filling up day in, day out, even down the road to China Mall. So my point is, I write a letter to an institution as a citizen, expressing my concern for that company, for my personal life, and the lives of other people within the community, and generally the state, because when it affects one, it's going to affect many others. No response. What else can I do? So it tells you that most of our institutions are weak. I can guarantee you that most of our institutions are weak. If you doubt it, just step out and walk on the road, and you would know. Let's go to...
I'm not done.
Sorry. Forgive me.
Anti-Galamsey raid turns bloody. Miner takes bullet in leg. EOCO arrests Denis Miracles Aboagye at Accra International Airport. Ghana Health Service, no cholera outbreak after floods, but public must remain vigilant. Chief Inspector in trouble. Police probe officer of alleged ownership of illegal sex structures. And Auditor General's report cites 3 million pupils in schools learning under trees.
The Daily Graphic for this morning says, commit adequate resources to sites to meet deadlines. This is Road Minister to contractors. And then 2026 BEC candidates begin SHS selection by July 20. And dealing with flood waste, President activates 6 Zoom Lion stations, 6 ideal Zoom Lion stations. So the president is activating that, and he's got the picture of him and Zoom Lion people. So that's it.
The
graphic.
Daily Post this morning. Fears surrounding the return of tribunals are misplaced. Eduji Tamaklo is saying this. They have a big picture of the president joining the national general cleaning exercise across Accra metropolis. Presidents direct Zoom Line to open transfer stations to ease waste disposal. Accra floods, Baumia dodges national cleanup exercise. On the back page, they have quite a picture of the exercise with the president captured in it. I like to show their back pages because he has a lot of pictures as well for persons who may be interested. And so that's what the back page looks like.
The Daily Gist this morning says Zoom Lion bounces back with presidential support, and Aboagye South MP demands probe into military shooting at Chebi Zongo. Also, national security attacks TikToker for linking Mahama to alleged 32 cows buried for victory. A Greek minister defends Nkukon Kitinkiti's success. VIP unveils Julius Debra's book. Baumia congratulates newly elected NPP constituency executives. Miracles Aboagye arrested after joining NPP communications director race, and the banner headline says Mahama's third term agenda catches fire as Supreme Court prepares for 3 suits. So that is the Daily Gist for today.
Yeah, I've seen those suits. Whether or not they ask a question for interpretation, I've seen some persons, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh says the courts must dismiss the suits because they are textbooks questions being asked. They are not matters of law.
Okay.
And so they should not countenance it at all. But the Supreme newspaper, Galamsey's clash with military at Chebi, one shot amid tension as MP demands independent probe. Fifi Kwete, Barbara Samoa under fire over Ewutu Senya East cover-up claims. Customs brokerage sector welcomes transformational leadership. Chiefs, family heads must share responsibility for urban flooding. Dr. Kofi Anoche. ISDEG Africa gets Parliament to commit to policing proposed district child labor. Successful pilot positions in Nkukon Kitinkiti for large-scale poultry production. And NPP National Communications Director position. Denis Miracle Aboagye's candidacy sparks excitement across NPP ranks. Well, he's been arrested, allegedly, A number of party faithfuls, big wigs have been speaking, have been making posts. We're working the phone lines to establish connection to Richard Ahiagba, who will join us with a bit more in terms of those details as well. But while we wait to do that, I'm sure there are a bit more you have for us.
Yes, the New Crusading Guy this morning says that Fifi Kwete Barbara Asamoah drawn into Ewutu Senya East NDC chairman, na call you controversy. Also, Nkukong Nkitinkiti's successful first phase paves way for commercial poultry revolution. This is attributed to Eric Opoku, who's the minister. Ghana must shift from trading to manufacturing in mining sector. This is Dr. Etiapim Frimpong Berima. And then Obom Asafuache accuses Kaswa police of brutal assaults and right abuses. Also on the front page of the New Crusading Guide this morning, Aboagye South MP demands independent probe after military shooting at Chebi Zongo. And also, pastor faces jail threat over disputed Accra land as contempt case set for today. There's a picture of a pastor there, but I can't identify who it is. And then the banner headline says, NPP Germany in hot waters. Members accuse elections committee chairman of attempting to influence branch polls. So that is the New Crusading Guide. The Daily Democrat says Azuma Resources rejects Black Volta takeover claims. Also, head of Puma Energy Africa pays courtesy visit on NPA chief executive, and President directs Zoom Lion to open transfer stations to ease waste disposal. You can also find on the front page of the Daily Democrat today, Aboagye South MP condemns violence at Chebi Zongo. Linda Oklu rallies Greater Accra against flooding. Mohammed's nationwide sanitation campaign, and GJA warns against press attacks and slaps. That is SLAPPS. I don't know what that one means anyway. Graphic Sports today says Azamati leads athletics team to Commonwealth Games. Heavyweights locked in blockbuster semis. Messi versus Mbappe final showdown looms. And then Mensah joins FC Cologne on 2-year deal. That is
Gideon Mensah.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic World Cup.
I see so. That looks good. That looks good.
No surprises. No surprises there. That he's gotten a transfer, right?
Okay,
He's gotten a deal to Cologne in the German Bundesliga. The Economic Times: financial sector fraud cost banks and SDI 68 million cedis, only 5% recovered as fintech losses rise. Banks preparing for next week's key interest rates decision, but with regards to loan rates, tenors, and sectors. And government provides 400 million cedis to commence women's bank operations, deposits money at Bank of Ghana bank to start operating before end of 2026. Is what you have in the Economy Times this morning.
Okay, so let's see what we have in, perhaps I could say if it's the final newspaper that I have this, no, but I have a lot more. So let's see.
So that's
Africa
my last
Today.
paper. So
really?
I'll need you to do it. Then I'll take you.
I'll
online.
do the rest. Okay.
I'll take you online as well.
Okay, that'll be beautiful.
Major Online, City News, and then Ghana Web.
So the Searchlight, the Daily Searchlight says, release Denis Aboagye, NPP demands from EOCO. And then murder of teacher shocks nation. Security of teachers in rural communities under fresh scrutiny after Sabelugu killing. Ensure unity, Baumia tells NPP after constituency elections. And shooting at Chebi, MP demands transparent probe. Bold banner headline, Accra Kumasi Expressway project. Government, GAF, destroys vast lands and lives. No service, no compensation for thousands of farmers or families in Eastern region. So that is the Daily Searchlight for this morning. I'm pretty sure you did the publisher? Did you?
Yes, I did no, I haven't done the publisher. I did
the publisher this morning says, Miracles Aboagye arrested hours after declaring NPP communications race. No more removal of shoes, belts, laptops at Accra Airport. 2 arrested for murder over fraud cash dispute. And form your own party. Anidoho tells third-term hopefuls. So I think that's about all that we have. There's the exclusive President opening Zoom Lion transfer. Africa Today says, farmer petitions Mahama over alleged land grabbing by Jubilee House staff in Shai Osudoku. And then hired armed men harass property owners using President Mahama's name. And NADMO to demolish buildings. Mepe residents endorse new inner roads project. And Yowa overlord false colleagues. So that is Africa Today. So I guess that's all that we have here for this morning.
We can go on to the online portals as well. Concerned Small Scale Miners Association calls for soldiers' interdiction over Chebi Zongo shooting. Kumasi Police Chief Inspector investigated for owning Asafo prostitution structures. I see that story has made a number of rounds. Ghana Railway workers owed 10 months' salaries. Railway Development Authority CEO. The Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz again. Fuel prices in Ghana expected to take a hit. And 2026 World Cup top 4 ranked teams reach semis for the first time ever. By joyonline.com, NPP to march to EOCO over arrest of Denis Miracles Aboagye. They are expected to march today. 2 Nigerians arrested over alleged murder of compatriots in Tamale. Supreme Court should consider live broadcasts to boost public confidence. Justice Akabuafu and Nana Prof. Asante advocate stronger ADR to ease court congestion. Appoint more judges to improve justice delivery. Circuit Court judge is saying there's an NPP Bantama constituency election resumes after disruption by unidentified men. City Newsroom, NPP to march to EOCO today over Miracles Aboagye's arrest. We've had enough. Commuters demand urgent repairs to SCC Old Barrier Road. Miracles Aboagye's arrest sets a dangerous precedent upon Kroma. Middle East tensions keep Ghana's fuel market on edge. Comac, lack of integrity undermining Africa's anti-corruption fight. I'll take you to Ghana Web now.
Okay.
Chief MP allegedly printed their own ballot papers for NPP election. Inside details of Okatachie's arrest. Also here, how to ensure zero mortality in Ghana's hospital. Accra High Court to hold case management conference in men's gold criminal trial. Official, Gideon Mensah signs for top German club. On entertainment, Cardi B finally speaks amid dating speculation with Super Eagles goalkeeper Maduka. I think those are pretty much the details on Ghana Web as well. I'm going to take us to myjoyonline.com so we can begin to get a bit more in terms of details from the Miracles Aboagye arrest and the NPP's promise to march to EOCO today. Now, the New Patriotic Party has announced plans to stage a march to the Economic and Organised Crime Office on Monday, that's today, to demand an explanation over the arrest of its member Denis Miracles Aboagye. The party says the demonstration is intended to seek answers over the circumstances leading to the arrest, which it believes raises concerns about the treatment of opposition figures and application of due process. The planned action follows claims that Mr. Aboagye was apprehended at the Accra International Airport by officials of EOCO with the support of the Ghana Immigration Service, despite allegedly receiving no prior invitation or notification regarding any invitation. The NPP maintains that while it supports lawful investigations and accountability, state institutions must adhere to establish legal procedures while dealing with individuals regardless of their political affiliation. Now, speaking on Channel 1, July 12, the party's national organizer Henry Nana Aboagye claimed that Denis Aboagye had not been informed of any alleged offense or invited by EOCO before his arrest. He described the development as an attempt to intimidate members of the opposition. There's a quote attributed to him. Miracles has not received any invitation from EOCO. He's not been informed of any wrongdoing. He's not been told that he's under any form of investigation. Nana Aboagye said he added that the NPP would cooperate with any legitimate investigation involving its members, but insisted that due process must also be respected and that law enforcement agencies should not be used to harass political opponents. So, I mean, what's been the details is what we're seeking to get a bit more of this morning. But We're all waking up to the fact that he's been arrested. As to why he's been arrested, we don't know. But there's a planned march today to the offices of EOCO to get a bit more in terms of details.
Absolutely.
At least that's what the party tells us.
It is within their rights. It's within their rights to do that because they need to know what miracles that is. Denis Aboagye is actually one of the big wigs in the political party because he's Dr. Baumie's person, like the one in charge of his campaign and so on and so forth. So, and he speaks so loudly for the party. Most people love him. They admire his courage and his confidence. And he's been a young man who's done quite well for himself within the political space, to the extent that even if a certain vice president would nominate you as the campaign manager for his presidential aspiration as the leader of the New Patriotic Party, which is referred to as the largest opposition as we have today. I think it's very essential for us to take cognizance of the fact that certain things ought not be happening the same way as they did. Day in, day out, we keep talking and speaking to the same matter. The style with which anti-corruption agencies go after so-called opponents. If somebody has done something wrong, it is just right, lawfully, to inform the person that we have so and so, such and such information about you. We would want you to report to our offices by this time, this day, and with the presence of your lawyers. It is quite disturbing that year in, year out, when political parties win elections and they are in power, their opponents become people that they need to tackle at all fronts, regardless of what the law says. Nobody is against the fact that if somebody is perceived to have done anything wrong, the law must stretch its claws to bring this person to books. But the point is that let's not do it in a way that would ruffle certain feathers within certain quarters of people alleging that there is some political kind of disturbance in there. It also does not mean that anytime anybody is picked up, the opposition party would want to raise the alarm and cry wolf that we are being hounded. My point is, as it stands now, the security agency perhaps would have something that we do not have. They may know things that we do not know. They may be instructed based on a thing or the other. So we need not jump the gun. Otherwise, what we call political witch hunt may be what will be rearing its head. And it may also impede the progress of our state institutions when they decide to do anything that smacks of political coloration. So here it is. If it is the right thing to do, the law is there. Did you follow the law? Did you follow the regulation? Did you follow the rules? If it is not, then the MPP has the right to call for some explanation. But like I said again, on the other hand, let us stop politicizing matters if it involves politicians. Who are politicians? Politicians are citizens of this country who have been given political power to rule over us and to take decisions for us and to open doors for us and ensure that growth and development of the economy is in and to the benefit of the Ghanaian. So if that same Ghanaian has been picked up based on insider information, let us whittle down the pressure and temperature that we have within ourselves and wait for the authorities to tell us the reason he was picked up. Some people are alleging certain things that I wouldn't want to say on air because we haven't heard officially what the matter is. So in this regard, we wait for the what's the name? The position of EOCO to speak to the matter.
Right. Let's get on to the phone lines. Thankfully, Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications of the NPP. Is joining us via the phone lines this morning so we can get a bit more in terms of details. Mr. Ahiagba, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on 3FM Sunrise. What is the understanding that the party leadership has got as to why Miracles was picked up yesterday? Perhaps let's start off with the details as to his arrest first.
Thank you, Marina. This morning, I don't think the sun has risen yet, even though we're on the sunrise. It's a very gloomy morning and a very sad one for democracy. Consistently, this government is becoming notorious for the use of arrest and intimidation tactics to quiet voices of dissent in our democracy. And I think that that is injurious. That is something that we ought not to accept. That's something I know, and I think you know, and most of us know. Does not marry with President Mahama's record and balance of work he's done in this country. So I am at a loss why he continues to allow or be quiet while these things go on. In a democracy where criticism or dissent is silenced, democracy perishes. To the extent that President Mahama cares about his legacy and this fourth Republican democracy, he must personally begin to act to end some of these things. Where we are as a country now, since President Mahama became president, the country has gone past the honeymoon stage where everything is given a pass. People are asking now, right now, that what really are you doing for us? Things are beginning to get extra difficult in our country, and the focus must be on solving problems rather than this political skirmishes that the NDC is doing to deflect attention from its non-performance.
Right.
So where we are now, we don't know what in the name of God is happening, why they arrested him. An individual traveled out of this country. Upon return, interestingly, upon return into the country in a jurisdiction where the president and the NDC operatives control, state power belongs to them. So once anyone is in this country, the government has ability to locate that individual at any time they want. And so, but that is the time that the government chooses to detain a person. To detain a person. Why? Why would you do that? Okay, so we're saying that this whole arrest and intimidate tactics is getting old. People are asking, is that why you came to office, to just arrest people? Well, I don't think so. You came to deliver some goods. We are not seeing goods. That's the question the opposition is raising. And when you begin to arrest them, you are not silencing the opposition, you are silencing Ghana. You are preventing accountability, and that is problematic. And so this morning, your question is what is happening, why he was arrested. We don't know.
Right.
His lawyers have not gotten access to him. The party, we don't have any information. All we know is that he's been picked up, and as to why, we can't answer that.
Right. I'm just going to double back a bit. In terms of how the party got to know as to his arrest, did he call anybody when EOCO officials were seeking to detain him, which is the reason why the party caught wind of the fact that he was being arrested?
Well, as for that, it's open secret. I mean, in this country, we're in government. There are people who are sympathetic to Mr. A, Mr. B in the system, so that information cannot be lost. But what we understand now is that when he arrived, the immigration officials seized him and possibly delivered him to EOCO probably the following day, which must have been yesterday. And we learned about that in time, that this is what is happening.
I ask that because you and I both know that before a man will be detained, the Miranda rights must be read to him. He must be told why he's being detained and for what purpose. That's why I asked if he was able to make a phone call upon his arrival to the jurisdiction when he was being picked up to at least inform the party leadership as to what was happening and the reasons which had been offered for the decision to detain him?
So certainly his lawyers were aware, essentially, but as to why he's been arrested, the party, we don't know. The lawyers haven't told us that. But the key factor is that why arrest somebody who has become available to you? He has become available to you by his re-entry into the country. He didn't bar him from leaving. He didn't require him to come. He went and came back freely. Just like this morning, number of planes are landing. All the citizens who are arriving here, they have come voluntarily. And now that they have come, they subject themselves to the laws of this state. And so you can access them any time you want. And a miracle, many of us are not people that you want to see and cannot find. And so this whole tactics of we want to arrest and then curtail your rights and all of that, that really is confounding. And that's why I was asking at the outset that His Excellency the President intervenes, because this here is not like him. And why it's happening in his government is confounding. You see, so the issue is the impact this is going to have on democracy, more so than why he was arrested. Because as to why he was arrested, you can deal with that, okay, without all this drama.
How many hours now since his arrest and his detention?
I cannot count for you, but the general understanding is that he was seized on Saturday night when he arrived in, and then till now you can do the math.
Right, so in excess of 24 hours since his arrest, Saturday night being inclusive, it means by close of day to day into the night, that'll be 48 hours. And you say for the party leadership, his lawyers have not been able to reach him.
That's what we know, that his lawyers are not given access to him. And as we speak, they haven't indicated that has changed.
As in they've been to the premises of EOCO and they've been turned away. They've not been granted access to them.
At one point, EOCO was even denying that they have him to begin with. At one point, they were denying that they had him to begin with. And so that is just how discolored the whole thing is.
For the party, you say you're marching to the premises of EOCO today to demand answers. What exactly are you seeking to do when you get there?
Well, in a democracy, what else do you have? Protest is the democracy. Dissent is one. And then we are put in a situation where all we have to do is to let the government understand that this is a democracy to begin with. And so those tools are available to us. And in good time, we'll activate all of them to ensure that the government gets back to its senses that really this is not a dictatorship, that this is a democracy, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And if they continue this way, they gradually are killing democracy.
What time does the NPP intend to be marching there?
Organization is still underway. I think that in due course you'll be notified as to when and where we're going to march from and to where.
Right, and are you informing the police as well of this intention to march to EOCO?
Well, I'm sure every legitimate process will be adhered to.
But what happens between now and if possibly he is released? Because we're also yet to see a statement as well from EOCO confirming if indeed he's been arrested and the reasons why he's been picked up.
Well, between now and the time he's released, you must advocate, because today it is Denis, yesterday it was Hanan, and then subsequently it will be another people. But soon enough, it will get to you and I. And if we're not talking to check the government, our power, they say, corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The tendency of the government would be to carry on to arrest and silence citizens, and that is not good for our democracy. So between now and when the right thing is done, I think that we should continue to advocate and draw the government's attention that this is a democracy, not a dictatorship.
Has the flag bearer become aware of the situation as well? Because this was his campaign spokesperson and has been speaking for him for quite a while.
He he is aware. All of us are aware, and we're hoping that this situation will be reversed and the status quo will be restored. And if there are any questions they want Dennis, the government wants Dennis to answer, he will avail himself and answer without all these intimidation tactics.
Any linkages? Because yesterday we saw pictures and videos of him making a bid to become a director of communications for the party, only to later discover that, look, he's been picked up by EOCO as well. Is the party drawing any linkages to this, or you're putting this all down to the fact that he's critical of the government?
I don't see any. And if there's any linkage to that, probably reasoning from the standpoint of the government, then I think it would be foolhardy of the government to want to do that, because really you are drawing needless attention to yourself by doing that. And what would be the motivation for a government to do that, interfering with opposition parties' internal processes? So to that extent, I would say I can give the government that credit, that I don't see any linkage whatsoever to it. I can easily say there is, but I don't think there is. But if there is, it would be foolhardy of the government to do that.
Ms. Anyagba, we'll leave it here. I'm sure we'll speak again in the course of this broadcast or subsequently to get a bit more in terms of details as to this. That's Richard Anyagba. He is the Director of Communications of the NPP, joining us this morning as well with a bit more in terms of details. And so it's still quite unclear the basis upon which Denis Miracles Aboagye has been arrested. His lawyers, what we understand, at least from what he tells us, have not been able to get access to him as at yesterday when they went. He tells us that EOCO had denied even arresting him in the first place before subsequently they confirmed. We're yet to see an official statement from EOCO detailing the whys as to his arrest. But I'll come back to in studio. Noble Crosby Allen as well is here with us. As to whether or not this brings a bit more clarity to what's been playing out in the last 12 plus hours since Miracle's arrest. Cross.
When the news broke and I read around it, heard about it, listened to the concerns people were sharing, and they are the exact concerns that Patrice has also shared this morning. Just a few things came to me, and I put them down. First is about the timing, and picking up from the last question you asked, Richard, that this is happening after Denis has reportedly announced his intention to contest for the MPP's Director of Communications. Now, the MPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has framed the arrest as intimidation, and he's arguing that because Aboagye is one of the party's outspoken critics, the timing raises a lot of concerns. So we should also know that this does not automatically mean EOCO is wrong, but politically it means the optics are heavy. So when a vocal opposition figure is picked up soon after a political declaration, then it opens the room for a lot of conjecture and speculation. The silence will create suspicion. It does not mean what EOCO has done is wrong. We don't know the details. EOCO has not spoken. But when there's suspicion, then it is a cause of concern. But it's good to know that Richard is saying that he's not linking this to the intention of Denis to become the party's communications director. Now, after the arrest, a few things that we also need to note: that law enforcement must not look like punishment before trial. If the arresting body has evidence, it should state the broad basis of the arrest, grant access to counsel, process bail where appropriate, so that, again, you don't leave room for people to say things that may not exist outrightly. Put him to court if what you have is enough to go to court with. If it's not, grant him bail. The arrests should not be used as punishment. And for political parties, both MPP and NDC, we see this one too many. You understand? Access to lawyers is also very central. The MPP's, their most serious claim is that his lawyers were denied access and his whereabouts were not disclosed. If it's true, it raises a major question of due process. You know that the law does not say a suspect get access to lawyers only when the state is ready. The law says that it is a constitutional right. The moment the state detains someone, the state assumes responsibility for protecting that person's right. And it includes making the person available to his or her lawyers and making the person's lawyers available to him or her. So based on what the NPP is saying, if indeed Denis still has not had access to the lawyers, then what are we doing as a state? We'll go back, we'll come and talk about the same thing will happen to somebody else. And Richard was raising that concern. If it happens to somebody, so it's somebody, it's not me. So you keep quiet about it. When it happens to you, who do you expect to come and talk for you? And I'm saying it across all the political divide. Stop using the state institutions as avenues to punish people, if that is what is happening. If it is not happening, then EOCO's silence is also damaging the case. I'm not saying that as a law enforcement body, as a security agency, you should be communicating, you should be saying things all the time. But you should read the room. If the room is demanding that come and clarify a few things, how many times has EOCO released statements? We have done it before. Come and tell us why this is happening. Put everybody's mind at ease. Open yourself so that people will input, people will help, and people will get clarity on what is going on. The public must not need every detail of the investigation. That is true. But, I mean, EOCO should be able to say a few things, that the nature of the investigation, whether he was arrested or invited, okay, where he's been held, whether he has access to his lawyers. Maybe he has access to his lawyers and the NPP saying he does not have access to his lawyers. It is possible. We are doing politics in Ghana.
It's one of the reasons why I asked if we knew his basis for the arrest, because when we're told that they don't know why he's been arrested, that because once you are being arrested, right,
your right to be read to you.
Yes, you have to be told why you are being arrested. Otherwise, it becomes false imprisonment. The arrest is very direct.
There's a procedure.
Like there's procedure. If you don't follow it, then it comes off as though you are doing something else.
So you see, if EOCO has made him available to
and
his
you can
lawyers,
actually take whoever has imprisoned you falsely on.
So I won't put it beyond the MPP and beyond the NDC that they'll play politics with this, even when the state is not. It is very possible. So now the burden becomes that of the state to come in. I don't want to say defend yourself, but say a few things. So and so has been picked up. So and so has been detained. So and so has been arrested. This is the nature of the investigation. He's been held at so and so. He has access to his lawyers. He does not have access to his lawyers. He'll be granted bail or taken to court. Make it available. Then the last thing I want to say is that whoever is arrested belonging to whichever party, the opposition has a responsibility not only to themselves but to the state. In this case, the opposition is the NPP, and Denis is the one who has been arrested. They have the right to demand for due process. However, the party must also avoid suggesting that an opposition figure cannot be investigated. I'm saying suggesting. I'm not saying that's what they are saying. But based on how they communicate, they should be careful not to paint the picture that if you belong to us, if you belong to the opposition, if you're critical of the government, even when you're doing something bad, you should not be investigated. They should be careful not to suggest it, because oftentimes the opposition parties come across as wanting to protect any and everything. So it is something that we need to be careful about. So it's a broader issue here, and hopefully we'll be able to learn a few things If the NDC leaves power, the MPP comes, we should not be having these same conversations. If you're picking somebody up, pick the person up, make the person available, speak to the public so that people avoid the suspicions. If you know the person has been picked up rightfully, stop making unnecessary, and unnecessary is in quotes, stop making unnecessary noise about pickups, arrests, or detentions.
Patrice, I'm sure you want a final bites. Then I possibly.
I could get into my element if I should start talking about this matter, because.
No,
yes.
I'm not sure you're one who is scared of getting into
yes,
element.
yes. Because whatever is happening is pure nonsense. I think we've been playing politics a lot in this country, and day in, day out, they tend to set the agenda for us as to what to talk about. This is nothing for us to be talking about, with all due respect, because they have created it so we speak about it, whilst people are somewhere struggling to get into bread vans to work, while people are struggling to find jobs to do. People are struggling to ensure that they live in a country where things are conducive. They live in a country where development is open. Everybody can see what is going on. People can commute to work freely. They don't drive on motorways that are not being properly constructed. People do not live in areas where there will be floods. There are more important matters to be discussed than to waste a lot of time on this matter. EOCO has picked up Denis Aboagye. Denis Aboagye is a member of the NPP, the largest opposition party. They are making demands as to the reason he has been picked up. Period. EOCO is expected to give information on that. I would leave it at that. Because if I need to continue, we'd go back into history and be talking about when NDC was in power, they arrested persons A, B, C, D, E, and D. When Kufuor came to power, he arrested persons A, B, C, D, and E. And then John Mahama came to power, persons A, B, C, D, and E. Day in, day out, they are politicians, and they just play our minds. I would not waste my time on them. If he has been picked up, he has been picked up based on a reason. Either it's legitimate or not. The court is going to prove it. When MPP goes into demand, that is the end of the story.
Yeah.
My point is this. We are suffering in this country. We need a way out. I always have said, and I'll repeat this until it comes to fruition. The quality of leadership of a country.
This is the nature of the roads.
Thank you. When you see the nature of the roads of a country, it tells you the quality of leadership that we have. And all political parties are, I don't know what words to put to them, but let's just say that they are all complicit in this matter. So nobody has got the right to accuse the other, because it is you. Roads that have been given, road contracts that have been given to people to do, money's paid to them, they haven't delivered, and they are walking around. We are struggling to commute, and government or people put in positions of authority are not thinking that we need a bus system to ensure that a bus can pick how many people? About 50 people or more. And the space that the bus is going to take on the road will be shorter than when we have these bread vans, a lot of them.
Yeah.
People are struggling, standing at the junctions, standing at bus stops that have not been properly done. And if you can see the strategy of people who are now, they try to create a certain kind of bus stop is wrong. It is advertising. It is not creating a bus stop for people to stand under, because when it rains, I was standing at the 37 bus stop, so-called bus stop. When it was raining, it was beating me. What is the wisdom in that? There's no wisdom in that. So we don't care about the people. All we do are macro and micro, and then that is all. And then politicians being arrested. If you were in power and you gave good account of yourself, would this thing be happening to you? So many people are reporting to EOCO. So many politicians are reporting to EOCO day in, day out. Those matters don't come out. So I think it is waste of time to speak to these matters.
Fair.
What we need to do is to focus on matters that...
Bread and butter issues. What I'm going to say in relation to this matter is I believe there's a reason.
Yes.
There must be a reason why he's been picked up. And I will err on the side of caution to say that the reason is not known. I just have that suspicion that, look, if you look at the nature in which things are done when it comes to arrests, it makes it very difficult for you to pick up an individual. And Patrice, you know as well, because I mean, you understand and appreciate the processes in terms of arrest and everything.
Right.
The person will make a phone call. If they don't make a phone call, they'll be told why they are being arrested. And all of that. And so, by all means, let the NPP march. I think that's within their rights.
Exactly within their rights.
Let them march.
People who are saying the NPP can go and march for all they care. Stop thinking like that.
No, I mean, it falls within their rights, right?
If it is the NDC has marched before.
That is why I say they are going to. It's the same thing. I arrested a carpenter last week. Did you guys hear of it? Until I'm saying it now. You know.
What was the business for them?
I can say the business. I read his rights to him before. He has squandered a friend's money to build a bed for him. And he kept on tossing us. So reported to the police, he was picked up. It was no news because he's not a celebrity, he's not a star, he's not a politician.
Yeah, I mean, arrests happen every day.
When the guys are enjoying, I mean, do they call it that, yo, guys, we are enjoying, we are having fun? They are being picked up and we are here wasting so much time on them.
See,
Masa.
Chachu Chikata was arrested.
There we go.
NDC cried. I have a few lists here.
Of course.
Victor Salome and others arrested. The NDC cried. Let's not even get into. Ofosuampofo was arrested. The NDC cried. So it is not the NDC marched. It is normal that
they
it
marched up at the police headquarters.
Exactly.
When it was
so if the NPP say they are going to do that, allow them. This is how I think that we will be able to break this cycle. Is that we know that every government says it is fighting corruption. Every government will say that it is doing the right thing. The opposition will always say that they are being intimidated. The only way that I see is not for the government, is not for the opposition, it is for the state institution. It is for the institution to break the cycle by doing two things. Number one, follow the law visibly.
Let it be seen, right?
Let it be seen.
By now, a statement should have come forth.
Don't tell us in detail, but let us know something.
That he's been arrested
visibly.
Investigations are underway in relation to this matter. I think that will settle it.
Do they owe you that responsibility as EOCO? They do not owe you that responsibility.
They do.
I think they
no,
do.
They do.
They owe the person that they have picked up the right to tell him the
basis for arrest. Right?
Yes.
The reason why we're speaking to it is that within the political climate and within security architecture as well, it serves a particular interest. You and I both know that if that reason for his arrest were open,
we will not be speaking like this today.
It will not. Nobody will be thinking about a march.
That is what I told you. It is a deliberate agenda.
So I think
they sway you off the critical matters with all these things. They have them in the book. It is written.
No, I mean we can. Exactly. I think we can agree around this table that some of these things they give life to person's political career and what have you.
Absolutely.
But so in fairness, right? Just one point. In fairness, just on what Patrice is saying. In fairness, miracles is already known.
Yes.
And so this cannot be something to give life to a political career. All we are saying is that on the basis of the fact that he is a known figure and his arrest is already drawing
speculations and from all sorts.
The request, or not a request, right? An intention to march and what have you. Will a reason put to bed all of that?
Do you believe in conspiracy theories?
I believe in conspiracy theories. Will a reason put to bed all of that, right? And here's why I'll lean in a bit as to what Crosby said, that in certain instances, it must be visibly seen that the law is being enforced. That is why the equality before the law, there are some who argue that not everybody is not equal. Because when you're picking up a certain individual, there is a need for tact. You can't go up and pick up just anybody, right? God forbid a high-ranking official, either in this government or the previous government, is being picked up.
You can't just go out.
You can't just because of the basis that persons can decide to go and mass up. It could lead to
the
implications surrounding the arrest. Will suggest that a bit of tact is required, and that's the only basis why a conversation can be had as to provide a bit of details, quiet the storm.
So let me read out to you something. What is EOCO? EOCO is Economic and Organized Crime Office.
Absolutely. So when they arrest you, it's linked to something.
It is a specialized Ghanaian law enforcement agency responsible for monitoring, investigating, and prosecuting serious economic and financial crimes such as money laundering, cyber crime, human trafficking, and tax fraud. So they operate under the Attorney General's ministry. Their main goal is to recover the proceeds of these crimes. So what we are talking about is far more serious than just the NDC MPP thing.
3FM.
So it is just possible. I am not saying they are right or they are wrong.
No, absolutely.
I am not concluding that there is a possibility. It makes him even more popular. Perhaps he has a friend in there who says, look, arrest me deliberately so I become popular and win more votes. It is just, somebody may think it is flimsy, but some of these things, they work in the favor of others.
You can't put it beyond our politicians.
Exactly. So I become popular. Then they'll say, let us vote for him so he becomes this
So
and then.
you think it is possible, Dennis, they have orchestrators of...
There is a high possibility. All he has to do is to send some $10,000 to somebody without showing where it's coming from. Then they will say that, it was 10,000.
That becomes a basis for arresting.
Exactly, that's it. So boys, let's sit up.
So,
let us wake up. Let us call on them.
The two things I was saying that follow the state institutions, not the politicians, not the political parties.
That's
should follow the law, number one, visibly, and number two, consistently. Don't change your math when the tables turn. Be consistent and be visible.
That's a very difficult. That's a very difficult ask.
Who are you planning to advise?
Not the politicians. I'm talking about the institutions.
Which one are you advising?
All the state institutions.
Please.
They won't take it.
The least said about it, the better. I mean, you see, our institutions are weak. A lot of those who take leadership positions are equally weak. The Ghanaian has been befuddled into thinking that I belong or I must belong to party A or party B. So if it's happening to party A, everybody will wake up on party B side. If it's happening to party B, the same thing. So for me, the conundrum is something that is beyond comprehension. You wouldn't know whether it is the Ghanaian who's calling on the problems for himself or herself, or it is the person put in position of authority that is creating that problem. I don't get it. Because somebody who is being strangulated would ask you, hey, stop, did I call you to come help me? That is the position of the Ghanaian. So today we're talking about bad roads. We're talking about flood issues. We're talking about incompetent MCEs and DCEs. Yet everybody is silent on it. Thus far, nobody has been hauled before any institution to say you wrongfully gave this person permits to build. Or you even built on a waterway. Nobody has been arrested. We'll sit here again, the rains would come, you and I and Crosby and anybody else will sit on the radio and we'll be discussing these matters. But we want to see the cracking of the whips at all these levels of incompetence and ineptitude and disregard for authority and the right things to do for as a nation. Otherwise, day in, day out, we wake up and we talk about the same thing. Nobody is talking about any new development anywhere where we say that, okay, now all buses are going to drive on a certain particular lane. All workers are going to be picked up by this time. Any car that hasn't got this seat range or hasn't got a car this wide or this big would not be able to take people. We are just a bunch of jokers in this country. It is becoming too painful. Wake up in the morning, we don't talk about anything innovative or creative that, it's been decided that every Ghanaian is going to eat 3 times a day. Or every university is going to have these facilities, or every school is going to ensure that A, B, C, D, and E. No school child is going to be walking to school or trekking on dirty, dusty, muddy roads. Why? 2026? Are you joking? Denis has been picked up. Yes, it's been picked up. If I get worked up, I'll go back into the times that he was also there. Somebody would ask, did he have, you see?
I'm not sure we have to get back to when
that
he
is
was
the
there.
thing. That is why they shouldn't set the agenda for us.
That is equalization.
Yes,
right?
they shouldn't set the agenda for us. Stick to your own lane. Do what you're doing. Give us stories that are more endearing. What is happening to agriculture?
For the politician, they will not give you a story that is for the opposition. They,
Yes.
they don't have a basis to give you a
Yes.
story that is endearing.
Don't divert me from anything. What is happening to agriculture? So last week you interviewed a man, a gentleman who was on agric. The way they said there was some ambassadors or generals or brigadiers.
They are sending brigadiers to.
Good, but that is not the end of the story. We want to produce what? For who? Do we have storage facilities for those produce that are going to come out of all these endeavors that they are putting out there? So we know yam in Techiman, doesn't it go bad? Tomatoes, doesn't it go bad on the farms? So you can get all these brigadiers and so on and so forth. It's a beautiful idea that somebody has put out there. But my point is that, do we have storage facilities for all these things should there be bumper harvests? If we do not, do we have any factories to can? That is what the Americans say. Eat what you can what you cannot eat. Are we able to store these things in cans so that we don't say the season of tomatoes is over, so now tomatoes is expensive?
Right. What I want to do is I want us to switch lanes, right? Because
I would love that.
From the weekend, yeah. I mean, we've had enough of, and I'm sure we'll get a bit more in terms of details as the day goes on.
I'm sure both the NPP, the NDC, and the EOCO, I mean, all of them, particularly NPP and the EOCO, there'll be some communication, or we'll get some clarity as they
subsequently, right? What I want to focus on is the cleanup exercise and from the weekend, because this morning we woke up to a bit of rains. Observations from our neighborhoods, right? Because on a Saturday we were supposed to have joined in terms of cleaning and all of that. What was it like? Because I mean the debate is on. We saw. Persons going and asking that, look, close up your shops, do this, do that. I got reports, part of it they gone. Persons who sell in the morning were not selling because the cleanup exercise was on and all of that. How was it? Because I want to come back and then we'll ask a bit more in terms of questions as to if that, well, that is not the answer to the flooding issue, but it raises significant concerns about waste disposal, which we've been having here, and the fact that we're cleaning up, but we're not finding where we're taking the waste, and with landfill sites and the general management of waste in the capital and the country beyond.
So this is where I'll take it from. We always do things from the end where we see nothing in sight. So a lot of concerns were raised. I drove through town and I saw people desilting gutters. Even around, the Accra Mall, people were doing it. So we had lifted the slabs and then people went into the gutters and they were digging. People were sweeping and clearing a lot of silt and filth. That's number one. Good news. So I went and then came back after 3 hours. The silt was still sitting where it was. The filth was still gathered where it was. Then I started asking them, where do you intend to pack these things? This is what some of them said. Yeah, the CMB 2 garden into year 2. Baby, I'm the me pacho me nim. Turned away and walked off. And the question is, why do we start something that we know we cannot finish? Your point is very clear on the fact that, yes, it is the responsibility of all of us to ensure that our environments are kept clean. Yes, no two ways about it. But the point is that if I should gather that silt and the garbage, where do you expect me to go drop them? So my question is, if those landfill sites are not made available, if those connecting and trucks that are supposed to carry all this garbage to where they're supposed to be dumped, what else do you want me to do? Two people spoke to this matter when the president gave the instruction that 2 days we're supposed to do the cleaning. And they were like, young man, 2 days are just not enough. It's more like a knee-jerk reaction to something just to let people believe and think that, oh, we know the way forward or what to do. Now we are hearing that the president has instructed Zoom Lion to open certain sites.
No, they should come and pick up the refuse from the SIPs, right?
My brother, the assemblies are allowing people to build at places where we need to dump our refuse. We are rezoning areas where we need to dump refuse and say that if refuse is supposed to be here, why can't human beings rather clear it up and then live there?
Let me do the details of the story.
Right.
President John Dramani has directed the immediate operationalization of all the waste transfer stations managed under Zoomline Ghana Limited to accelerate refuse evacuation and strengthen waste management systems in the Greater Accra region following the recent floods. Addressing residents during the second and final day of the national cleanup exercise at Alajo, Accra on Saturday, he said the transfer stations constructed more than 9 years ago had never been operationalized, forcing waste collectors to make costly trips to disposal sites far from the city. There's a quote. Unfortunately, they were not put into operation, so we've asked the contractor, Zoomline, to open the transfer station so that the Aboagye and others can take the garbage to the transfer stations. President Mahama said they don't need to go all the way to Amasaman to the Ivory Corps, right? He noted the president described the initiative as an important step towards building a more sustainable waste management system for Accra, stressing that effective sanitation requires both functional infrastructure and responsible behavior from citizens. Patrice, you're on the floor, so yes. I'll let you finish and then I'll come in.
I'll read this to
there's
you.
A lot of questions.
Ghana generates an estimated 14.5 million tons of waste every year, and only 10% is collected and disposed properly. Out of the 14 million tons of waste, only 10% is collected and disposed of properly. So where do we see the rest? We either dump them in open spaces, we burn them, or we bury them at places, or we put them in rivers and gutters. And you know how much money we are losing? 6.2 billion Ghana cedis every year to poor waste management. And you and I sit here and say that we have issues, we have challenges. Look, there is something called stitching something in time. The idiom is a stitch in time saves 9. Do we stitch things in time or on time? We do not. It is no.
Tearing.
we do not, and it is very painful. We don't do anything preventive. If I had the right, I would ask the president. We need to stop people from acquiring land further away from where we are. Nobody should be made to acquire land to build a house today. It may sound nonsense, but that is the right thing, because the more we spread out, the more difficult it is for roads to be constructed and all these waste management controlled. Because people are gradually eating into areas where we need to keep the waste. We are not applying wisdom to a lot of these things. And it hurts me because 6.2 billion cedis every year on poor waste management, and we don't have any way out, like I said. Now, there are companies who want to convert waste to energy. We are not allowing them. We are not even being innovative to do such things. There's a place, what's the name, around the Bukom Arena area, where Zoom Lion has got a waste disposal place. All those things, when you go there and you see the so-called tricycles parked there, you would ask yourself, is this the best we could do for ourselves?
Right. I'm going to have Crosby come in briefly because we have to make way for sports as well, and right. Then we can get into a bit more. Crosby, just briefly.
Mawina, Patrice has spoken nicely, but I want us to look at the opportunity cost, because we fail to do what is right at the earliest time. And please pardon me. So the exercise reportedly ran from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on both days across the affected regions. Government institutions, private institutions, MMDAs, waste management companies, all of them, they were involved. Now, if we're doing the opportunity cost, this is what we'll know, that public offices slowed down, shops closed, markets semi-closed. Some private sector activity also paused for that period to allow for the exercise to happen.
Yeah.
Now, because we are not able to prevent, but we want to always do the knee-jerk thing and firefight, let's look at how much we lost. Now, a small kiosk that is selling about 300 cedis, selling about 300 cedis a day. Now, if that small kiosk is using 4 hours to go and clean and not to sell, it means that it is losing about 120 cedis in turnover over the 4 hours. Now, if profit margin is 15%, then the real profit loss is about 18 cedis. Number one, you do not get the 120 cedis turnover. If you're a provision shop that you sell 1,000 cedis a day, it means you're losing about 400 cedis in the turnover as a result of the cleanup that we're doing. We can do that. We can even link it to, have a broader conversation about how much the country lost because, number one, we failed to prevent and we always want to firefight. The Bank of Ghana's January 2026 macro data places annual nominal GDP at about 1.4 trillion cedis. Now, if you do the rough work, divided by 8 working hours, giving about 700 million of national output per working hour, and I'm talking about the 250 working days. So 4 hours of national working time is equal to about 2.8 billion cedis in gross output exposure. 7 hours of national working time is equal to about 4.9 billion cedis in gross output exposure. That's not the actual loss. Since the exercise covered a lot of the regions, we're seeing some billions of cedis, and this is just academic, this is just math. How much we lost as a country because we had to wait for people to die before we all gather ourselves, go onto the street and go and clean. The cleaning is a good thing, but we could have done it in a better way to prevent this from happening rather than going to firefight and losing all of this money. The country lost productivity. Shops failed to open for particular times. People lost customers and all of that because, again, all of us, politicians, citizens, all of us failed to do the right thing. And in one of the voices that we played over the weekend, somebody was saying that if you let us do the exercise on this day, we are losing money because the weekend people will come and buy and all of that. So I'm telling you that although the exercise was good, it came at a cost. We could have prevented this, avoided this loss if we had acted earlier to prevent the floods from happening by doing the same things that we went out to go and do over the weekend, Mawina.
Cross, thank you as well. What I'm going to say is that this raises a number of questions. Transfer stations were not operational for 9 years. At what cost did that come to us as a country? Because the president mentions it was a part of a contract. And so which contract was this? Why was it not operational? Why was it also allowing waste to be piling up at different places? It's a conversation that most certainly we ought to have and will have if you stay with us here on the 3FM Sunrise. So we can get a bit more into sports for you right now.